This video contains spoilers for many parts of Halo Infinite's campaign. Talking about Halo Infinite is kinda tricky, for me at least. I have a complicated relationship with the series. I haven't played the majority of the titles. I played some of the Halo 1 campaign in co-op with friends when it came out. I played the multiplayer here and there at LAN parties back in 2002. I played a bit of Halo 2 multiplayer cause all my friends played it. But I wasn't a console shooter guy. I preferred the fast-paced shooters of the 90s on PC, like Quake and Unreal Tournament. And I didn't play any Halo games after that. For a long time, I held a grudge against Halo because I didn't like the direction that first-person shooters took after its massive success, and by extension the effect that Call of Duty ended up having. Almost 20 years later, I decided to revisit Halo, and I was able to appreciate it for the game that it is, finally separating my emotional reaction to it when it came out from the objective quality of the game itself. I detail that emotional reaction in my polarizing video, Halo Ruined First-Person Shooters, which is about how I personally experienced Halo affecting my local first-person shooter scene and future FPS titles in years to come, ultimately ending with me finding respect for Halo at the end of the day. And I have a follow-up video that clarifies those feelings. I am not a Halo fan, but I'm also not a Halo hater. The games I played, Halo 1 and 2, were good as far as I know. I haven't played them deeply enough to thoroughly examine them. And as Halo Infinite's release date has been approaching, I've been excited, but honestly kinda nervous too. I avoided the early release multiplayer because, as someone who is not a big Halo fan, I just want to dive into the campaign on launch day and experience the game that way. So what you're going to see here is the gameplay and opinion of someone who is not a Halo player. If all you want is the opinion of someone who really knows the series and can jump into the game immediately on Legendary, you're not going to get it here. I'm just going into this game hoping for a good time. I looked up some videos to catch me up on the story. I don't know advanced Halo strategies or what weapons are best. I'm just playing the game, and that's it. This video will solely focus on the campaign, because I'm a single player guy. The multiplayer is fine, it's fun. I don't have anything else to say about it. If you want to hear about balance and maps and progression, you'll have to go somewhere else. Here we go. I'll start with what I really like about Halo Infinite. It looks nice, sometimes. I played at 1440p resolution, and I generally like the way the game looks. The performance isn't the greatest, but locking myself to 60 FPS on PC ensured a solid experience at my preferred resolution. I especially love how detailed and worn Master Chief's suit is. You can see a lot of history there. The enemy designs look classic, really reminds me of when I played the game 20 years ago. The grunts are really funny and cute. I love what they say when you die to one. I think the weapons are cool, and the antagonists have fun designs and are pretty detailed. I'm not familiar enough with Master Chief to have any kind of connection to him as a character, but the voice acting made me smile when he spoke. There's a charm to him, I like it. The battle rifle feels good to shoot. I like that you can target enemy helmets and then get an easy headshot. There's a loud, satisfying headshot sound too. It's a bit much, but I think it's good that you can really hear it since combat can be so fast and chaotic sometimes. The grappling hook is a fantastic addition to Halo's combat loop, in my opinion. Being able to pull new weapons to you when you're out of ammo, escape a dangerous situation, climb to new vantage points when approaching a fight, the eventual upgrade that gives you a charge punch which is super powerful. All of this made me, someone who generally gets frustrated by the feel of Halo's movement, feel more liberated on the battlefield. From what I've seen, a lot of Halo players appreciate the way the grappling hook works in Infinite, though I'm sure there are others that don't like the addition. The grappling hook also lets you traverse the map in unconventional ways, scaling mountains to enter a mission from the rear, and some fun speed boosting and bunny hopping that I'm sure the speedrunners are enjoying. My favorite innovation is the addition of explosive objects. Being able to grapple an exploding canister and throw it at a shielded grunt or a hunter is very satisfying and adds to the improvisational nature of combat. When the action in Halo Infinite really gets going and I play more aggressively, I find the game pretty fun. It gives you the tools to allow you to overextend and put yourself in dangerous situations simply out of fun, and then switch strategies to recover. For example, maybe I'll do some damage to an elite and go in for the kill using the grappling hook super punch, and now that I'm exposed, I'll plop down an energy shield and use it for cover while I plan my next move. It's pretty fun. I do wish it had some kind of way to refill your health without just taking cover, but at least there's a decent balance between strong offensive and defensive options. As a new player, playing the game on Heroic for my first playthrough, I died plenty of times, but I also rarely found myself getting stuck in a battle for longer than 10 minutes or so if I was struggling. Halo Infinite is at its best when it asks you to use several tools at once, which it doesn't always do. Halo is known for that sandbox style of gameplay where you can approach battles in different ways. And in my experience, it usually allows for really lame play to be very effective. If I'm pushing forward and trying to win a fight in a more run-and-gun confrontational style, and I die several times for it, I feel like Halo Infinite wants me to stop and think about what I could do better. Smarter grapples, better management of shields and trackers, awareness of enemies around me. And sure, I could do that. I could put in the work to play more efficiently or intelligently. Or, I could just sit back here and snipe everyone from cover, and that works just as well, if not better, and it's way easier. And that's one of my main issues with Halo, it always has been. The fact that staying alive is a matter of hiding behind a box and waiting for your shield to recharge, when there's no active health recovery option, like map knowledge to grab high-value health pickups like in Quake, managing stim packs to heal yourself in critical moments like Fear, or, yes, of course, how could I not mention Doom's glory kill system where melee kills refill health and the flame belch refills armor? When all I can do is run away and hide, why go forward into combat in the first place? Why not just run and hide the whole time and never risk dying? If there were little 10% shield recharge pickups scattered around, or something more active, I would like this game so much more. But hey, Halo is Halo, and in Halo Infinite they've made both your shield and health bar regenerating, so it is what it is. I'm not gonna start complaining about the other stuff, 2-weapon limit, reloading. That's how Halo plays, it's fine. I like the enemy-specific and weapon-specific tactics Halo Infinite offers. Plasma weapons to destroy shields, the grapple hook disables shields, kinetic weapons are great for instant headshots, enemies have weak points that you can use to kill them quickly, and certain enemies are good at pushing you to learn the game's mechanics. For example, the Berserkers charge at you at insane speeds and have a lot of health. When they first showed up, they beat the hell out of me repeatedly. But after a few encounters with them, I got good at using the grappling hook to distance myself to kill them from afar, using stun grenades to lock them into place, etc. Berserkers are introduced alone to get you into using certain tactics, and then later they appear mixed into larger battles to shake things up from time to time. Kinda reminds me of someone I know. There's a couple boss fights that really demand you learn the game, and I think they're pretty good. The final boss was a little frustrating for me, but I appreciate how it combines quick movement, precision, defensive options, and smart grappling to be successful. Tovaris and Hyperius were probably the most difficult fight for me. I died a lot, but I did feel like I came out the other end a better player, which is great. This guy was pretty good too. Disabling shields while keeping your distance plays well into Halo Infinite's mechanics. And my favorite boss fights were the invisible ones, where I was using my motion tracker in combination with exploding canisters and stunning weapons and grapple hook melee. At times it was fantastic. I wanted the whole game to feel like this, like I was being held accountable for my decisions. I felt like if I were playing dumb, I would die, whereas in a lot of other encounters in the game, dumb play is rewarded. There is one boss fight though that is so pathetic I can't believe it's in the game. And it's in the game twice. This guy. Unbelievably bad boss fight. Shocking. You just shoot the 4 parts of his ship and shoot the middle and hide from his laser. It's so bad. But I gotta get to what I think the general issues of Halo Infinite's campaign are. Let's go in, more or less. First, there's no story recap. Like I said, I saw some videos that caught me up on the story. It took me from Halo Wars all the way through Halo 5. It was a lot to take in, a little confusing at times. I mostly followed it, but it would have been very nice to have an introductory cutscene that set up where we are and what's going on and what had just happened before. Halo Infinite left a player like me with a lot of moments of, huh? What? Who? I don't know what's going on. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not sure what the real goal of all this is. And I gotta say, by the end of the game, I didn't feel like I'd really accomplished that much. Maybe that's because I didn't play the other games and read the books. But when it was over, I was like, oh, is the universe safe now? Was this just a small piece of a larger story? It was unsatisfying. I felt like it was only a piece of a story they planned on telling. Part of the reason, surely, that the story fell flat to me was how it was delivered. Apart from a handful of scenes where we see the antagonists delivering their lines, we don't really see story moments where things are happening. There are no interesting characters to meet. I don't really recall impressive set pieces or cinematic moments that made me feel like big things were happening, and my own actions didn't make me feel like I was advancing things much either. If you like the story, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it was delivered very dryly, and it lost me because of that. It's astounding how many times you hit a button and watch Cortana pop up to have the camera zoom into her as she starts talking to Chief about something. It became painfully predictable and tedious, and around the 20th time this happened, I simply stopped caring. And I was trying to care, watching all the cutscenes, taking my time at the beginning of the game to take in the world and figure out what's going on. It didn't work. Complementing the lifeless presentation of story is the lifeless world the game takes place in. I'm just calling the map the island because that's what it is. I find this map to be confused. Not confusing to navigate because it's quite simple and fairly small, but the overall design decision is confusing. Why did they make it like this? They've made a linear open world game. It takes the designs of linear level-based games and non-linear open-world exploration games and mashes them together in a way that bafflingly ends up leaving out all the positive aspects of both. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not much of a fan of open-world games. At least, not right now. I remember having lots of fun with the old 3D GTA titles, and I loved Red Dead Redemption, but that was 10 years ago, and maybe I've just changed or I'm simply tired of the genre, but currently it's difficult for me to enjoy those types of experiences. It was my main concern going into Halo Infinite. I was worried about a game packed full of grinding side quests, and I was especially concerned about having to spend 20 to 30 hours on this one island looking at trees and rocks. The first time I got to the island, I opened the map and thought, oh god, look at all these places. I don't even know where to begin. I felt overwhelmed, but fortunately it was easy to figure out. Yellow markers for the main storyline, red markers for FOB points that unlock armories and fast travel, and there's assassination missions and whatever. So let's talk about open world design. These FOB points let you fast travel so you don't have to drive around, and really, thank God, because driving around isn't all that exciting and lots of the terrain is unfriendly to vehicles. You don't need to drive around hoping to catch a rare event, and the world isn't interesting to explore because there just isn't much to see. It's literally just drive from one point to the other. And I know lifeless is a strong word to use when describing this map, but I'm not exaggerating. This place is dead. There's not a single thing happening here outside of the static side missions that are always there regardless of the hour of the day. If this were a real living place, you would be driving to a mission and then stumble upon something like a banished supply truck transporting ammo to a base. But there's nothing here. There are no real side quests in this game. By that, I mean you're not going to one place of the map, meeting characters, learning story, accepting missions for a reward, traveling to other parts of the map, possibly returning to the original location. None of that. These bonus missions are mostly just about liberating the one area and hitting some switches to open a gate or something. Go here and kill this guy so you can unlock a weapon. Go over here and rescue a squad from an ambush for valor points. Nothing that actually utilizes the map, traversal, exploration, storytelling. That's not to say some of them aren't fun. The outposts where you're recapturing these large banished bases are long, elaborate combat sequences, if you choose to do them. They're certainly better than a lot of the copy-paste missions you find at a lot of spots. But again, this stuff very much feels like an, go over and liberate this area if you want to, but it doesn't really matter. So what about the main mission path? The main missions take you from the left part of the map where you gotta disable towers, to the middle section where you gotta disable gun turrets, to the bottom right where you have to disable 4 beacons. That's the game. Almost every time you hit a switch, and you listen to Cortana talk about something. In between each part of the map, you're entering tunnels and spaceships, which contain some decent combat sections here and there, and other parts that are largely empty where you're hitting more switches. You earn Valor as you play, main mission or not, which unlocks additional weapons and vehicles at the FOB points, but I found it largely unnecessary. I didn't even realize I was earning this Valor stuff until the game was over, and I still had unlocked plenty of weapons by just following the main missions. It makes all the side stuff feel kinda meaningless, especially when the mission design is so basic and repetitive. And I know that earlier I said I was initially worried about having to engage in a lot of typical open world stuff like XP grinding and elaborate side quests, but I gotta say, an open world style map without that stuff kinda feels pointless. Why are we even doing this? Just make it a linear campaign if you're not gonna put the effort into fleshing out the map with interesting things to engage with. Here's an imaginary side quest for Halo Infinite. The Banished have captured one of our squads, and they're transporting them to an aerial station for prison transfer. You need to intercept their vehicles on the northern path in the next 5 minutes, or they'll be lost forever. Rescue the prisoners and bring them back here safely, which results in a vehicle chase sequence. Amongst the Banished is a high-value target, a commander responsible for war crimes. Eliminate him for a bonus reward of Valor. Additionally, there's a rare mineral aboard the transport, and if you bring it back, you'll get a permanent +5 ammo capacity upgrade to the pulse rifle. Wow, wouldn't that be fun and rewarding? How is there not a single side mission or even main mission objective like this? Instead, we get mission after mission of isolated targets that have nothing to do with the world, and rescue missions where it doesn't even matter if the soldiers you rescue survive. One time I entered a rescue mission with 3 soldiers helping me. We rescued another 3 soldiers, and at the end of the mission only 1 was alive. I lost 5 men, and that's a successful mission? Are you kidding me?
These Marines aren't dying today. Great work.
Yeah, these are my best buddies. I've never felt so connected to
Spartan.
That guy. And, oh, I guess that everyone else is dead, huh? I guess that was a really successful rescue of the Cobra Squad. Oh, no. Oh, man, we came here with like 3 guys, and then we rescued like 4 others, and only fucking Ricardo made it out. Well done, Spartan. Here's your Valor points. Now go rescue another squad. Ricardo, you want to come? You want to come rescue another squad with me? There's not even like a penalty for everyone in the squad dying when you rescue them? Oh, Lord. The more I play this game, the more just ridiculous shit stands out to me.
There's no interesting characters to meet, there's no side missions that affect the main story even in a small way. This world is so empty. This is a big issue, so I'm gonna stay with it a little more. The lack of actual open world style missions that require traveling to multiple parts of the map renders the FOB points irrelevant. Because if you don't really need to travel the map and engage in side missions to unlock necessary weapons, and you don't have any side missions that take you back and forth across and all around the map, and if the main mission only crosses the map once, why are these FOB points even here? This is what I mean when I say the game's design is confused. Additionally, the FOBs kinda break Halo's whole design philosophy, don't they? I suppose that's a bold statement for a non-Halo player to make, but correct me if I'm wrong here. Isn't a big part of the Halo experience the fact that you can't just start any mission with whatever weapons you want? You're regularly depending on what you find in the battlefield, adapting, using weapons you're not comfortable with. So does Halo's combat design actually benefit from being able to spawn in whatever powerful weapons you prefer to rely on and take them into any battle you want and approach them all identically? I don't think it does. Pretty quickly, I was entering every mission with the same weapons, and once I could spawn a battle rifle sniper combo, it was game over. How about we just run into every assassination and rescue mission with rocket launchers and boss weapons? Spam hammers against giant bosses until they die. How about we drive into a rescue mission with a truck full of soldiers and literally just drive the car around mindlessly for a minute and a half while the soldiers shoot every single bad guy that I don't run over with the car, until the mission is over. Wow, this is great mission design, guys. On top of that, there's ammo refill stations all over the place, so you can keep refilling most guns easily and rarely have to put them down. It's really weird. I don't remember ammo stations being in the original games. Maybe they were, I don't know. Regarding the fast travel mechanic, the first time I ever needed fast travel to FOB points was the beacon mission near the end. You gotta go to 4 points of the map, very spread out, and hit a button at each beacon. It's the same thing 4 times, with a lot of travel in between. And since I had never been to this part of the map, I had no FOB points. I desperately wanted fast travel, and I didn't have it. I guess it's my fault for not driving around for hours doing assassination missions and liberating FOB points before deciding to follow the story? Yeah, I guess. Sure. But at this point of the game, I had already gotten the feeling that there was nothing to see that expanded this world, so I just stuck to the main mission from here on out. And this is when Halo Infinite really started going downhill for me. Hard. The last stretch of the game puts you in this awful beacon chasing mission, and then into another section of a seemingly infinite number of big empty rooms, looking for a stupid amount of switches and watching cutscenes where you're almost exclusively fighting drones. They are not fun in the slightest. They're annoying harassment units, and harassment units need to be used with other units, like a God of War Harpy. They're annoying, but they work with other enemies to create a unique flow to combat. As much as I love God of War, if there was a 30-minute section of all Harpies, I would scream. I started to find myself wondering, is this game even finished? And the answer is no, it isn't. Through the problem-ridden development process, they had to significantly scale back their vision, and 2/3 of the game's content had to be cut, according to this Bloomberg article. That's why the open world feels so bare bones and the missions so boilerplate. I understand that this is 343's best Halo game so far, and it's a nice recovery after Halo 5, but even if you love this game, you gotta admit this could have and should have been a lot better. After such a tedious mission in the beacon section, to bring the game down even further with room after room of drones, empty hallways, switches, and cutscenes, it's just astonishing to me. And it left me feeling like I dislike this game more than I actually do. I've never played a Halo game this much. Never in my life did I think I'd play 20 to 30 hours of a Halo game, because it's not my thing. But this game has solid enough combat to keep me going till the end, and that's more than I can say for a lot of games where I just want to give up out of boredom. The final letdown was the ending itself. Not so much the story, but that I was expecting more main missions. It felt like there should still be more to do, that the conflict isn't over. So what's the next mission? Instead, we're dumped back onto the island, which, to be fair, I was expecting to happen eventually, because of the open world nature of the game, right? You beat the game, and now you can go do all the side content and have fun. But maybe I was expecting a new series of side missions to unlock or something, because when I opened the map and looked at all there was to do, I just stared blankly and said, I don't really want to do any of this. I came back a few days later and did some assassination missions, some squad rescues, and it all felt hollow. It's certainly no GTA, where after the main story you can call up your girlfriend and talk to her about stuff, mess with the cops and create a big chase in the streets. Those games have cities that feel alive, so it feels good to just be there even after the story is done. Halo Infinite's world feels irrelevant after the story is over, unless you just want to go around and experience the combat some more. Which is fair, the combat is good, so there's some fun to be had there. But it's combat without mission context, so I have a hard time caring about it. It's not even an interesting place to be in. Every area pretty much looks the same trees, same rocks, no interesting landmarks, nothing that shows any history of the place. And maybe there's story or lore justification for this, but it's still pretty fucking boring to spend hours here. All the Marines are vapid clones that don't matter at all, there's no interesting wildlife, there's no indigenous life forms with a culture and society, it never rains or snows. And yeah, it's a military outpost, I get it, it's not gonna have some of this stuff. But that's why it's not a good setting for an open world game. Overall, for a game with Infinite in its title, it all feels quite small and limited. There's no New Game Plus that lets you take all your weapon unlocks into remixed combat encounters in the main and side missions. I hope they add that later because it's desperately needed. I appreciate the skull system, I do, but wouldn't it be nice to be able to start a new game with all your gear and upgrades and crank things up? Because I'm here post-main mission and unlocking all this stuff for what exactly? In the end, Halo Infinite just left me feeling kinda empty. It's not that I didn't have fun, I told you about the cool boss fights and how fast and fun the combat can be sometimes, but it's not enough to offset all the other stuff that drags the experience down. Now, I realize this is just my experience. I know people who are really enjoying the game, mainly Halo fans who are happy to see something way better than Halo 5. So if they're happy, great. This game didn't need to please me nearly as much as it did them. But I don't feel motivated to play this game again or finish the side content. I'm sure Halo fans that took their time and just ran around the map doing all the side stuff first probably had a better time, but I just didn't feel motivated to do it because it feels so isolated and not connected to the overall experience. I'm gonna stop it there. That's my opinion on Halo Infinite's campaign. Did you like the game? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.